Hey, David, you've talked about the intellectual dark web and so-called free speech warriors. They always say that their number one priority is to participate in the battle of ideas and to debate and to figure out which are the best ideas. But do you believe that free speech warriors and the intellectual dark web actually want full, robust debate? No, they don't. Next question. No, I mean, let's flesh it out a little bit, okay? There is no doubt that the intellectual dark web and so-called free speech warriors have built a following on the idea of we want debate, we don't want to limit speech, we want all speech, maybe short of illegal speech, to be legal, and we want to fight out the idea battle to figure out which ideas are the best. Let's discuss, though, whether that's actually what they want. I believe that it is not what they want. And I think that it has become very, very clear because when you look at critiques of the broader intellectual dark web movement or the free speech warrior movement, which free speech warrior, it's kind of like a counter to the social justice warrior. I tend to say that those who attack social justice warriors as an ad hominem are sort of like the free speech warrior movement. There's a lot of overlap with the IDW, but it's not the exact same group.
We know what that term means, though.
Yeah, I think we have a sense.
I think it's pretty straightforward.
You know who I'm talking about here. One of the broader trends is when you critique the movement as not being a movement that actually wants to figure out the best way to organize society, but they're actually pushing a particular agenda, for example, or that they want debate, but they want arbitrarily narrow debate, which they've already predetermined is okay. You very quickly see that they don't really want the broadest form of debate where all ideas are able to be evaluated on the merits. Because if you go and critique the intellectual dark web movement, either because you find that it is a sort of a useful idiot or a conduit to the furthering of bad and already debunked ideas, you will be immediately attacked, and not because of the argument you're making. If you want some examples, just look at my YouTube clips about the subject matter. When I have pointed out certain deficiencies in some of the ideas championed by the intellectual dark web or some of the arguments being made by some of the members of the intellectual dark web, the critiques of me are overwhelmingly ad hominems and claims that I'm merely a shill for this, that, or the other ideology. Those aren't arguments, and people who really want to debate the merits don't respond in that way. Now, if your response is going to be, well, David, then debate some of the ideas with these people. Gladly. They are all welcome on the program at any time. We've invited Sam Harris on the program numerous times, even though he has sort of a different place in the intellectual dark web. He has to date not accepted. Ben Shapiro has been on before, and I've invited him to come back on, and so far he has not agreed to. Dave Rubin is welcome back on the program anytime. After I actually engaged with him in the battle of ideas and we talked about healthcare and taxation and so many other things in an hour-long interview, I think at this point he may want absolutely nothing to do with me. We used to text sort of regularly, and I've barely heard from him since, and I don't think he wants to be back on the show. He's welcome anytime. Jordan Peterson has been on the program, and he is welcome back anytime, although it doesn't seem like he wants to be on. I was in touch via Twitter with Brett Weinstein, and I would love to have him on. He is a sort of more left-wing member of the intellectual dark web. He sent a couple tweets back saying, maybe what would be the format? And I said the format would be, I just talk to you. There won't be callers. There won't be other guests. It's just you and I have a conversation. Never heard back from him. So I am not the one here who is shying away from a discussion and a real engagement in the battle of ideas. They have no responsibility to me to show up and debate me in any way, but it's an open invitation. And what's at least clear is that I am very willing to engage on the ideas specifically. And right now, it doesn't seem like they actually want to do that.
Yeah, I think when they talk about the battle of ideas, by and large, of course, they're not talking about specific policies. They're just talking about the importance of having a society that embraces free speech. And that's what it's all about. Like when you actually get into specific policy ideas with many of them,
Yeah.
they tend to fall apart. So I would love to see any of those people come on and you actually discuss healthcare policy with them or guns or any of those kind of issues and really frame it that way.
I think I would take maybe a half step back because you very broadly generalize that they fall apart when you talk about policy. I think that on some of them do with some policies, no question about it. But I think what we would very quickly find is that if I sat down with any of the members of the intellectual dark web, left, right, or middle, if there are any in the middle, I don't know necessarily.
Dave
Rubin. Dave Rubin, of course, he is in the middle. Yeah, he's part of the new center, actually. I think we would very quickly get to the idea that when both sides are really actually open to a full and free exchange of ideas, it starts to become evident which ideas are better pretty quickly. And you have to then say, we don't actually have to spend as much time talking about engaging in the battle of ideas because you can very quickly start to figure out which ideas are good and which ideas are not so good. And that's what I unfortunately don't see that much of coming out of this movement. Send me your thoughts. I'm ready for the ad hominems. I'm ready for people to write in and say I fundamentally or deliberately am misunderstanding what these people say. I'm ready for it. We've been dealing with it for more than a year at this point. So have at it, and we will talk to you on today's bonus show.